NCTV45, The Train, anytime on your time.
This program was provided through funding from Cedars Restaurant in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. A special thanks to Cedars, featuring Middle Eastern, Italian, and American cuisine.
Welcome to the Cedar Sports Corner, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Rally, sons of Notre Dame, sing her glory.
I'll tell you what, Ange, I'll tell you what. I still say, I don't think I give you a proper introduction, did I? This is our producer, Mr. Angelo Parada, and you can see he's so ready to talk about Notre Dame, I couldn't even introduce him properly. But
the numbers don't lie.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a little stats for everybody that harassed me. I love this. Okay. When I picked on Alabama, well, the stars fell on Alabama last night or 2 nights ago. Because, A, when you look at the top 4 teams in it, and Georgia on my mind, they have 3 losses. They have 3 losses. Okay? Now, 3 losses is 3 losses, and there's really nothing much you could say about that. They don't belong in the top 4. Now, Alabama played 3 schools that were not Division I, going to a bowl type schools. I would say 4, but we'll say 3. Okay. Notre Dame's schools all went to bowls.
And the only team Notre Dame lost to was the national champion.
Okay. And they lost by 27. Alabama lost by 28. So, Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, I think that's the way it should be.
And there's no shame finishing number 2.
And you know, here's one other tidbit. To those people that pick on the ACC as it not being a football conference,
I mean, it seems like schools like Clemson and Florida State are either winning it or usually up there. And mixed in with Alabama sometimes.
Hello, Notre Dame plays out of the ACC?
Well, yeah, that's... What have I said before on past shows? It's like, Notre Dame, in my mind, is still the ACC school. Even though technically in football, they're not, but they're like a pseudo-ACC school because they have that rotation of games they play with them. You know what I mean?
So, okay, I'm trying to figure that one out. Looks like the Irish didn't look so bad after all. Can't wait to go to the Y to tell the guys.
And I want to talk about Pitt and Penn State real quick. So, Angelo.
Pitt, that's a travesty.
Well, you know what, though? Give Pitt some credit in the sense that they were 7-4. They won the conference. They were on that 5-game win streak. Their starting center goes down. I think that's a bigger hit than people realize because
kick the field goal to win.
Oh well. No, that I agree with. You know what I mean? There's like, some weird coaching.
Oh, well, we can kick the field goal and win, or we can lose by a point.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, Pitt, I do think, is a better team than the record says.
And for my friends at Penn State, of which, you know, the part of me that really doesn't like Penn State says, keep Franklin as long as you can. To my friends, I say, get as far away from Franklin as you can. What's he doing?
Franklin is one of those coaches that he could recruit well. He'll get you your between 8 and 10 wins every year, but you're not gonna compete with Big Ten blue bloods. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're both Pat Narduzzi and James Franklin. I feel like
Narduzzi's way better than Franklin.
Well, you know, and give Narduzzi credit. He just fired Sean Watson, and the receivers coach. I feel like it's with the Pitt coaching was more their offensive coordinator than anything. And in terms of James Franklin, the expectations of Penn State are much higher than obviously most schools.
And,
how much time does he have left? I don't know.
Unreasonable.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean, the Big Ten's not exactly the hardest conference.
Well, no, and Penn State isn't necessarily the best team.
Well, yeah, I'm saying though, just when you have a brand name like Penn State, they're you know they get higher.
Guess what? No, they don't got a brand name. Okay, stop it. Notre Dame has a brand name. Michigan, who's in every year, has a brand name. Ohio State has a brand name. Penn State does not have a brand name. They are just as good as Pitt. The problem with Pitt, the Duquesnes of the world, they don't brag about themselves, and Penn State does. Well, I give all the credit in the world to Pitt. Lost by 1 point to Stanford. Should have kicked the field goal to win. And as far as Penn State, nah, not looking at it. Penn State played Kentucky, lost by 3. I happen to think Stanford is a lot better than Kentucky. Mm-hmm. No offense, Kentucky.
Well, real quick back to the brand name thing. What I'm trying to say is James Franklin's seat is going to heat up a lot faster because Penn State.
The alumni will get on him.
Well, the alumni, you got 100,000 stadium, a bigger, very big fan base. Pitt, with the ACC Coastal get between your 8 and 9 games a year, I feel like most Pitt fans will be happy, at least for a handful of years.
You're selling them short, as a typical Pitt guy would. We got to go to commercial.
That's not what I'm doing. I'll elaborate more when we come back, but let's take a break and now we're from
This program furnished by the MAD Unit, Mobile Auto Detailing. See Michael Sad at themadunit.com.
Holy snowman, it's the Turf Bar, home of great sandwiches, appetizers, tacos, you name it, they have it at the Turf Bar. It's just the right food. You'll enjoy those special drinks. They're there too. And get that nice cold beverage, relax, enjoy the Turf Bar. If you ain't there, you should be. Hello, friends. Pinella Brothers, 1701 Hamilton Street, provided funding for this program. Great food and drink, Pinella Brothers.
And welcome back to the Cedar Sports Corner, everybody. Just to clarify a few of my remarks, Angelo. I'm not selling Pitt short. What I'm trying to say is that I think most Pitt fans will give Narduzzi the benefit of the doubt if he's getting, his 8 wins, at least 8 to 10 wins a year for a while. He signed through 2021, I believe. Now, if they keep hovering around 500, I think Narduzzi maybe has a couple years left. Personally, I think Pitt should be winning the ACC Coastal every year. Because I feel like they could recruit better than what
Personally,
Narduzzi's done.
I think it's Boston College, Penn State, Rutgers, Maryland, West Virginia, Pitt. That whole grouping, probably bring a few more others in, but that whole grouping is a conference. They're all the same, and they all should be playing each other.
Bring Notre Dame in there.
Notre Dame is heads. They can't even catch Notre Dame on a fly. Notre Dame would sell tickets for the conference. Notre Dame is a national power. That's the next level when you go to Michigan, Ohio State, USC, that's that next level. Penn State isn't there. They're a wannabe. They don't play. They are in the same class as Alabama, who plays Tennessee, Chattanooga before they play a big game, and then they play a big game, and then they'll go back and play Louisiana Tech and downgrade their schedule.
I think
Anytime you play Michigan and Michigan State, or Stanford and USC, you're not downgrading your schedule. You're staying at a level. Penn State does not stay at that level.
Well, see, I think you're talking more about the individual talent of the teams, like how well the teams
I'm talking about, can you afford to play day in and day out? My comments with Alabama rang true. They could not play Auburn, Oklahoma, okay? They had to play, here's what they had to play: Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma, okay? And then Clemson.
And Clemson won.
And Clemson won. They have never played 4 tough games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
The Alabama Crimson Tide have never played 4 tough games in a row. All they've done is they play a tough team, then they go to a patsy and a cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to talk about college basketball, and here's the reason. The Duquesne Dukes, okay, deserve some credit, and now it's getting to the point where anybody that goes to Duquesne gets the benefit of some way out bizarre officiating. And I want to talk about officiating in general, because I want to know whether you go in college or whether you go in to the pros, the NFL. Okay, what the heck? You can't tell when a fumble is. You blow your whistle early. A guy shoots from out of bounds and you count it as a 3-pointer.
What I think happens is that you get certain officials. Some officials are more lenient than others. Some are very strict. I know, like with conferences, sometimes there's a lot of rumors about biasness, things like that. For example, like in the old Big East, the refs would usually let the teams get physical with each other within reason, to the point where it might be considered a foul, but they lean on the side of, we'll let him play. You know what I mean? So I think what happens is that there's not like a unanimous way of thinking among officials. And when you get teams who are used to being officiated a certain way, those teams get frustrated and upset.
Well, you have to have some consistency across the lines with respect in football to interference. And basketball is totally judgmental. You've got Duquesne, who I'm going to go and tell you they're a good basketball team. Not maybe a great basketball team, but, you lose by 10 to Notre Dame out there. You come back and beat UMass, okay. You lose to Pitt, okay, you lose to Pitt. You come back and beat Marshall. You win against Longwood. You win against Maryland Eastern Shore. You win against Maine. And then you get somebody that calls 6 technical fouls in the Penn State Duquesne game, and you lose against 6. It's like, okay, we're writing a script. We don't want Duquesne wins against Eastern Kentucky. Okay, loses against New Jersey. Okay, and I don't know what the IT stands for. Okay, turns around and loses against Davidson. Well, when you stop and you look at the games they're losing, you're getting some pretty questionable calls, and you're heading into Atlantic 10 time, and what I'm seeing is that would never happen at the Peterson Event Center. That would never happen in South Bend. Okay, it's happening when they feel the script is necessary for somebody to win. And it happened quite literally. I question the calls. In the Ravens-Browns game, yeah, the Steelers made mistakes during the season, and I want to segue into them. But how about I'm diving for a touchdown, I fumble, and the Browns are running for a touchdown, so I blow the whistle?
You know, Edge, to give you credit, you were pretty much right about the Browns competing till the very end. So it's not like you were wrong. You know, they were very close to helping the Steelers get in the playoffs and very close to having a winning record. So I'll give you props to that.
Well, they would have had a winning record. The guy's running for a touchdown, and it's like, okay, the ball comes out in midair. Nothing was touching the ground. And you blow a whistle. Now, there's relying on instant replay, and then there's wah. You call interference against the Steelers, and Casper the Friendly Ghost didn't even interfere with them.
Do you think the solution is to have referees be held more accountable?
I think the whole recruiting thing has to start, because as I understand it, these guys funnel up from high school to college, and from college to the professional game. And right now,
we should probably take
the
a break
class
right now.
of officials is weak.
Yeah.
So let's take a break.
Let's take a break, and now word from our sponsors.
Today's programming is brought to you by NCTV45 and NC Radio 450, Newcastle's community television station. This program furnished by Sporting Goods, 23 East Washington Street, Newcastle. Call 724-658-2535. These fine businesses provided funding for this program. Gatherings, Town and Country, and On Target.
And welcome back to our third and final segment of the Cedars Sports Corner, everybody. And for our last segment, I think we should talk some Steeler football, because that's arguably the biggest news that's going on around in this part of the country. And Angelo, since our last show, a lot has happened. In case any of our viewers have been living under a rock, Antonio Brown and the Steelers' relationship is not the best right now, and I'm not going to go over exactly what happened. But Angela, do you have any thoughts and comments about the way the Steelers season ended, about Antonio Brown and the coaching changes they made so far, not renewing Joey Porter's contract, and surprisingly getting rid of the running backs coach, which I'm not necessarily sure why, but what are your thoughts on everything?
Well, first of all, I kind of go back to one thing. The Steelers did make the playoffs because, and not because of the Steelers, but because of the officiating. Working backwards, in the last week of the season, we have a certain touchdown for the Browns called back. We have the game in New Orleans where the ball is tipped and the guy throws an interference flag. We have the interference call in New Orleans that gave them a touchdown. That's 14 points. So the Steelers win in New Orleans. Okay, and as you work back, teams are going to have problems. Officiating is the one thing that should remain constant. It shouldn't be the officiating is a variable. All the onus is on the teams. So, right there, that's the first problem. The second problem is the lack of discipline. As much as I cannot stand the New England Patriots, you don't hear about these things with New England. Now, who has control? Is it the general manager or is it the coach?
Is it?
And if Tomlin isn't exercising control, then he got to go. And if it's the general manager, then he got to go.
Well, I also wonder, how much of it could be ownership too.
Well, that's the general manager.
Mm-hmm, the Rooney.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I wonder how much, Tomlin obviously takes a lot of heat, but you wonder how much of an influence Rooney has, like, just in general, some of the hires throughout the year. You had Todd Haley coming in. Victor becoming Roethlisberger's best friend, the coordinator.
At some point in time, you got to stand up and say, hey, I'm the coach of this team, and if I'm not the coach of this team and you're the coach of this team, I'm going to go away disgruntled, and you're going to take it on the chin.
Mm-hmm. And listen, I'm not trying to excuse Antonio Brown's actions at all, but man, I'll tell you what, I'm really disappointed. There's a lot of people saying when Juju Smith-Schuster was named the team's most valuable player, that sent Antonio Brown off. And now Antonio Brown was replaced by Juju Smith-Schuster in the Pro Bowl.
Well,
I just
here's my feeling. I'm not going to go into soap opera stuff.
Yeah,
it's who has control.
Uh-huh.
That's the bottom line. Now, we got the Colts taking on Kansas City. I like the Colts' chances.
I do too, because I always feel like, at least in my lifetime, when the Chiefs get to the playoffs, they just,
The Chargers taking on the Patriots.
That was a fun game to watch over the weekend.
And I think the Chargers have a shot.
Well, and they do. Now, I know Phillip Rivers is, 0-7 against Brady in his lifetime, but streaks are meant to be broken.
And now, here's some other interesting games. You've got the Cowboys. I feel bad. The guy that broke his ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The Cowboys will be taking on, and tell me if I'm wrong, the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And because they didn't have it originally posted correctly here. And the Eagles will be playing the second place team, and I'm not real sure. Again,
no, it's the Eagles versus the Saints.
Saints and the Cowboys versus the.
Let me see.
I don't know why the NFL put it in here this way.
Rams.
The Rams.
So I was confused too when I saw that.
It just.
I think it was just like a Google Chrome mistake.
Yeah,
because I thought the same thing you did. But
and
listen. The Rams, to me, I feel like the Rams are going to win that one. I do. I just.
The Cowboys will be in the game.
Oh yeah. I usually go with.
And I don't think the Saints have as much of a cakewalk as they think they do.
Well, how about in that Eagles game? In the Bears, the Bears kicker missed that last
double
kick.
doink, doink.
Listen, I feel bad for him, man. People on Twitter were destroying him. Look, it's not like that was an easy gimme kick. You know what I mean?
Well, it goes back to all those things I say. Sharpen up your officiating before you start blaming players in the course of a game. We better take and.
Well, right here before, let's make some predictions because I know you like predictions. My predictions is that the Rams will beat the Cowboys, and that the Eagles will beat the Saints, and I have the Rams coming out of the NFC to face on the Patriots.
Now, hold on. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to play a good game and win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Eagles win, and I have the Cowboys playing the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, I have the Eagles returning to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl. Now, on the other side, I have the Chargers winning, okay, and I have the Colts winning, and I have a Super Bowl that says Cowboys-Colts.
Cowboys-Colts. So you have winning that Super Bowl.
I think the Colts have an excellent shot.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Luck is back, and you always win with a little luck.
Oh, well, and I'm going to go with the Rams over the Patriots to buy Super Bowl. Aaron Donald gets his Super Bowl win, and I sound a little biased.
Okay.
I do, but I really think it's going to happen. But I think that's a wrap for our show, and any final words, Angelo?
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
And put up your dukes.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching, and hope everyone has a happy rest of their new year.
A special thanks to the YMCA for caring about the Lawrence County community and providing funding for this program.